Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the topic of modal verbs, also known as modal auxiliary verbs. These are words like can, must, could, should, and many more. These words help us express ideas like ability, possibility, permission, advice, and obligation. By the end of this video, you will know what modal verbs are, how to use them in a sentence, and we're also going to be having a look at modal perfects. And this is a way to talk about the past like a native speaker. So let's get into it. Modal verbs are a type of auxiliary verb, which means they are a helping verb. They do not function or work on their own. They always help the main verb. So the key idea here is that an auxiliary verb, the modal verb, is there to help, and it gives extra detail or essentially extra meaning to the main verb. Examples of auxiliary verbs are words like can and could, may and might, must, should, will and would, shall and ought to. I will mention some of these are obviously a little bit more formal than others, but we will cover them all. Now let's look at the sentence structure, because this is very important in English. The modal verb sentence order would be the subject, modal verb, base verb, and object. For example, I can speak English. She should go home early. They must study harder. He might come earlier. But it's very important to note that we never add s, ed, or to after the modal verb. For example, she must to go home. She must go home. And he can goes. He can go. Now let's break up the modals into their groups, which are essentially from their functionality. The first group that we're going to be looking at is ability, can and could. These show the ability of something. So can talks about the present ability, and could talks about the past ability, and it can be the polite form when asking for something. For example, I can swim. This is my present ability. She can speak 5 different languages. It's her present ability. But if we look at could, we could say I could run fast when I was a child. This is the past ability. I can't run as fast as I could. And then for the question, we could say, could you help me? This is a polite way of asking for assistance. The second group we're going to look at is possibility, may, might, and could. The functionality is to talk about the possibility of something happening. May is seen as our more formal possibility, might is seen as our weaker possibility, and could is seen as our possible options. For example, it may rain today. She might come to the party. We could go to the beach. As a reminder, all of these essentially mean maybe. The third group we're going to be looking at is obligation and necessity, must and have to. These function as rules and strong necessities. Must is a strong internal obligation, and have to is our external rules. For example, you must wear a seatbelt. I have to work tomorrow. Students must submit homework on time. The negatives of these are must not, which means you are not allowed. You must not do this. And you don't have to. Don't have to means that it is not an obligation. The fourth group we're going to be looking at is advice, should and ought to. The functionality here is giving advice or recommendations. Should is used for giving advice, recommendations, and to say what the right thing is to do. And ought to is just the stronger, more formal version of should. For example, you should study for your exam, you should drink more water, you ought to apologize. But it is a lot more common to use should in everyday English. Group 5 is permission, can and may. The functionality of these is asking and giving permission. Can is our more informal permission, our everyday use, and may is our more formal version of can. For example, can I go home early? May I leave the meeting? And you can use my phone. And lastly, group 6, future intention, will and would. The functionality of these are for future predictions, willingness, and habits. If we look at will, we use will essentially for future actions, decisions, and predictions. Would here again is our more polite and formal version of will, but it can also be used for hypothetical situations and past habits. For example, I will call you tomorrow. She will help you. I would like a cup of tea. And for the hypothetical, I would go if I were invited. So, to summarize, can is ability, may and might is possibility, must is obligation, should is for advice, will the future. Very simple meanings, but such a powerful effect in English. Now let's move to something a little bit more advanced. Modal perfects. Modal perfects are used when we talk about the past, especially when we are guessing, criticizing, and talking about regret. The structure that we use is modal verb have past participle, also known as verb 3. For example, must have past participle, should have past participle, might have past participle, and could have past participle. We use them in 3 different ways. The first one is deduction, which is guessing the past. For example, he must have forgotten the meeting, she might have left early, and they could have missed the bus. Notice that we're not using the word guess because the structure that we're using indicates, it insinuates that we are guessing. The second way of using it is for regret and criticism. For example, I should have studied harder. You shouldn't have said that. You could have tried again. Notice how we are judging past actions. And the third way of using it is possibility in the past. For example, she may have been tired, they might have gone home early, and he could have taken a different route. Notice how we think something possibly happened in the past, but we're not entirely certain that it happened. Think of it like this. Modal equals present future idea. Modal plus have is our past guess or regret. So a simple memory trick is if we use have, it happened already. So in theory, must is a strong belief now, must have is a strong belief about the past. I must wear my seatbelt, I must have worn my seatbelt. I'm going to show you 4 examples so that you can understand this idea clearly. He must be at home now. This is our present guess. He must have been at home yesterday. This is our past guess. You should go now is present advice. You should have gone earlier is past regret. Now you have learned modal verbs and modal perfects, one of the most powerful grammar tools in English. Just remember, modal verbs are to express ability, advice, obligation, and possibility. Modal perfects are used to express regret or guessing, essentially in the past, which is definitely a much more advanced and natural way of using it. Don't be too focused on being perfect when using them. Try and incorporate them into your speech. Repetition will build fluency. And as always, be cool, not a fool. Subscribe for more English tips and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future video. And if you'd like one-on-one classes with me, you can scan the QR code on the screen or click the link down in the description. And I just wanted to give one of the warmest thank yous to all of my new supporters. Watching this small community grow is so inspiring. Thank you so much. Stay healthy, stay cool, and I'll see you in the next one. The second way that we use them is for criticize. Yeah.